Hey everyone, it's Dave. Welcome in. It's time for Module 3. Module 3 puts us halfway through the class already, which is always amazing to me how quickly 6 weeks goes. And we're also lucky we didn't have a 4-week class. So right now, all the heavy lifting is done. We've learned about the formal elements. We've learned about the principles of design. And now we actually have some fun lectures this week. We're going to have a lecture on Vincent van Gogh, probably one of the most famous artists and favorite artists of my students. We have a documentary about Terry Horton. She is a 73-year-old truck driving woman who has a really bad attitude, who cusses like a sailor, and she finds this painting at a thrift shop. She buys it for $5, and the documentary is about her path of taking it to being an authentic Jackson Pollock painting, and she's asking $50 million for it now. We also study modern art, and with that, the father of modern art is Edward Manet. So we'll have a lecture about him and controversial art, and then we'll go through the modern art movements. By the end of the week, and I don't expect you to do this early in the week by any means, is to complete the midterm exam. The midterm exam is essential. It is 50 questions, multiple choice, and worth 20% of the overall grade. With that, it's only 20% of the overall grade. So if you don't do as good as you think you should have on the exam, there are tons of projects still to do in this course, and that will bring up your grade substantially. And with that, I'm going to take over to the Canvas site. I'll walk you through what we need to do this week. There's only one discussion board, but don't forget to do the journals as well. Those are really important to keep up with. And let's head over to the Canvas site. All right, here we are over on Canvas. We're going to be in Module 3 this week. It is set up as usual, like our other modules, the video you're watching right here on top. We'll delve into the introduction here. Just a reminder what we're going to be covering this week. We are done with the formal elements and principles of design. We have a documentary, which is slightly over an hour in length, but a great story. Our modern art movement, we're going to be covering Edward Manet, who is the father of modern art, and Vincent van Gogh, who is going to be categorized as a post-impressionist. And, of course, we're all familiar with his works, such as Starry Night. A list of objectives below, and then our assessments include the midterm exam, which needs to be completed by the 21st, the discussion board, and then 2 journal entries that we'll go over. So let's head back up to the modules. And first, we have the documentary. So the documentary is a great story about this lady who finds a painting at a thrift shop, and she is trying to authenticate it. She bought it for $5. She's asking $50 million now. We have an article about her here, and also the very last known interview of her. She did pass away in 2019. She did not sell the painting in her lifetime. Modern art movements, lecture, study guide, and for the further exploration section, we have a video of Claude Monet painting, which is really cool. That's one of the really neat things about modern art, is that these individuals generally live within the time period where we have better documentation, such as video. And so we actually get to see, toward the end of his life, Claude Monet painting. The Futurist Manifesto, I'm going to come back to shortly. You definitely want to watch the Mark Rothko auction. And then I also threw a video of a more current modern art auction. Christie's runs sales about every 3 months. They're fascinating to watch. There are so many modern masters such as Claude Monet and Edgar Degas that are still getting millions and millions of dollars for their artworks. We have a lecture on Edward Manet, who basically started this modern art movement by himself, by kind of rejecting the ideas of the Academy. For the further exploration section, there is some optional material here. Things that are not optional. Luncheon on the Grass video. Really important that you watch that. The other two you can choose to watch or not, but they are fairly short and interesting. Edward Manet, Music in the Tuileries, is about a particular painting I'll show you during the lecture. Charles Baudelaire, he's the most famous writer of the modern age, and you can go ahead and read a page or two of this if you choose to. Also, information about Olympia's maid, which is Lori. This is this lady back here in the far right. After that, Vincent van Gogh, lecture, study guide, further exploration section. A lot of what we know about Vincent is found in the letters between him and his brother and a few other family members. All of them that have been found have been scanned. They're compiled on this website. So if you want to take a look at a couple of those, it's pretty cool to see Vincent's writing and then to read the correspondence between him and usually his brother. If you're a Doctor Who fan, there is an episode of Doctor Who called Vincent and the Doctor. It is historically inaccurate, but a very good episode nonetheless. Don McLean, singer-songwriter who wrote American Pie, also wrote a song dedicated to Vincent van Gogh called Starry, Starry Night. And finally, a 1970s TV show called In Search Of, which dealt a lot more with paranormal concepts. Leonard Nimoy was the host of it. They also did an episode on Vincent van Gogh, which was really kind of fascinating. And Leonard Nimoy actually played Vincent's brother Theo in a stage production of Vincent's life. That's all the lectures this week. Journal number 5 we'll do first. This is where you're going to submit your study guide, or your movie guide rather, for the Jackson Pollock film. You're not going to submit anything here. You're going to hold everything until the final week of class. But the movie guide, this is one of the places you can get it, and it has up top all the people, and I believe I have them in order of appearance. These are all the major characters to just write some general notes on. And then after that, more importantly, are these types of questions. Do you think Terry's painting is authentic? Why or why not? The documentary debates scholarship and science, which deserves more credibility. Where do you see division amongst social classes presented? Is there anyone in this movie we can trust? What is the impact of authorship? The idea that at a thrift shop, this painting is worth $5, but in an art gallery with the name Jackson Pollock, it's $50 million. How much money should Terry sell her painting for? Who is your favorite character? And what does Terry do from here? So that's Journal 5. We're going to head over to Journal 6. And that is dealing with the Manifesto of Futurism. And this is the very first time we have a manifesto in art. It's basically no art has been produced, but this group of artists, led by poet Filippo Marinetti, come together and they talk about their ideas about what art should be. And it's a fascinating reading. It's about 3.5, 4 pages in length, and it's out there. It's scary. It's disturbing. But it is also really, really cool. So half page to full page reflection on this is what I'm asking for. You can download the manifesto here, or you can have it read to you. And again, this is also in the further exploration section of the modern art lecture. 2 projects this week. The first and most important is the midterm. Make sure you complete the midterm by July 21st. Sunday evening, I do have a time at 3 o'clock, but that's just to remind you, you got to get it done. Don't wait until the last hour or 2 of the day. That is when Canvas is the slowest. That is when Canvas has the most glitches, and you want to make sure your midterm is done before then. The exam is only 50 questions in length. They're all multiple choice questions, each question worth 2 points. It is open notes, open book, open browser, and it is timed. You have 60 minutes which is more than enough to answer 50 questions. So that is what you need to do to make sure it's done by Sunday the 21st. The other thing we have to do is we have a discussion board that focuses in on the documentary we're watching. So the documentary, just over an hour in length, and make sure you watch it because I will tell you there are questions on the final exam regarding it. You want to tell me in the discussion post if Terry's painting is authentic. Tell me what part of the documentary was the most interesting to you, who is your favorite character and why, and please respond to one other group member's post. You get 5 points for each of those, total of 20 points for the discussion board. It is due by the 21st as far as your initial post goes, and then the reply due by the 28th. And with that, that is everything we have this week. If there is anything you need help on during the week, please drop me an email, and I will see you next week with module number 4.